when the truck comes by on Friday and carts it all away. 1,000 trucks just like it are converging on the bay. Oh, garbage, garbage, garbage.
What is sustainability?
What?
Sustainability?
Sustainability.
Sustainability? Are you being serious right now? Yeah.
The Millennium Development Goals were established in 2000 at the Millennium Summit in order to unite world leaders in an effort to end global poverty. 8 specific targets were identified, each closely related and interdependent upon reaching the ultimate goal, with sub-indicators to measure the efficacy of the goal. Goal 7, ensuring environmental sustainability, has 4 targets. A, integrate the principles of sustainable development into country policies and programs and reverse the loss of environmental resources. B, reduce biodiversity loss, achieving by 2010 a significant reduction in the rate of loss. C, cut in half by 2015 the proportion of the population without sustainable access to safe drinking water and basic sanitation. And D, achieve by 2020 a significant improvement in the lives of at least 100 million slum dwellers. Sustainability is of unprecedented importance for the developed and underdeveloped nations alike. However, within the cultures of many leading nations, this concept is largely unheard of and underpracticed. A paradigm shift is absolutely necessary to sustain the human species on this planet.
Okay, sustainability, as we can see, is derived from 2 words, ability and sustain. So it's the ability to sustain. And how do you sustain? You use mostly recyclable materials, so you get away from toxic chemicals, industrialization wastes, and you use biofuels for your cars.
Much of my understanding and knowledge base is what I've imbibed, right? Meaning what I have been, I've lived as someone who has lived in urban environments where we've had to learn how to live and preserve parts of the environment, parts of the landscape, parts of the place. For me, sustainability is preserving the natural environment, the spiritual environment, and all of what we've been given in nature for future generations, so that they can benefit from what is common for all of us, our air, our land, our water, all of the natural features that make up the world in which we live that support human life. We couldn't exist if what we call, and the ancients call, Mother Earth didn't exist. So it's really important that we understand that. Once we understand that, I think the question is the opposite. Why wouldn't sustainability be important?
Sustainability for me is to be conscious about the resources we have available in the earth. And if we know how to use sustainability in our lives, we are going to make the world a better place to live.
To me, sustainability is about having as little waste in your life as possible and having good infrastructure that has little to no negative impact on future generations and the environment. From thestoryofstuff.com, I learned that if the whole world was at the rate of consumption of North America, we would need 5 Earths, which I think says a lot about what we need to change in our lives. The consumer lifestyle really is not sustainable. And I think that we use recycling as an excuse to keep throwing things away, and a disposable lifestyle is also not sustainable, so it's even more important to reduce what you're consuming and reuse what you're using.
We're really in the throes now of 3 main problems. Number 1 are carbon emissions. I think we have to figure out a way as a human culture currently to manage that as individuals and as communities. We are also dealing with challenges to our water system. And, most of us that live in urban environments, we really don't notice it too much, but there are lots of other urban communities that are paying a heavy price, both financially as well as in the form of droughts, to deal with the fact that our water systems are very already heavily damaged. Food is a big thing for me right now, and I think that if I was to look at the list, it would be number 1, because everybody can do something about food, right? We will be buying food today or eating food this week, right? So I think food is really a critical part, eating the kinds of foods that are sustainable, more vegetarian foods, and they're obviously more healthful, and then foods we can grow ourselves. We can all have a backyard or a side yard garden. We estimate that side gardens can save a family up to $2,000 a year.
I use a bicycle or I use public transportation instead of using my personal car. And I avoid the consumption of meat because I am conscious the amount of water and electricity that it has to be used. If we know how to use our resources and make a sustainable world and change our lifestyle, we are gonna improve the quality of life for future generations in this world.
I reuse jars and like peanut butter jars for Tupperware containers or old clothes as cleaning rags. I'm conscientious about what water I'm using, and if I'm using it for something that I actually need, like turning off the shower when I'm shampooing my hair. I try and think about what chemicals I'm using in my cleaning products. I recycle. I have a compost bin at my parents' house, and I try not to use styrofoam ever because it's really bad. And in general, I just kind of reference zero waste home.
Sustainability for me means preserving one's environment, being conscious. I lived for many years in Central Europe, and now I've been in the US as well for many years, and so I've seen how two very different cultures relate to this issue of sustainability, and how they conceive of it, and how they treat their environment. Ultimately, it has to do with having a long-term vision as opposed to simply merely living in the present moment, and thinking selfishly of our own lives.
I've embraced this culture, this mentality that I have a choice. I can decide not to have that consumerism mindset. I can go to local food markets and buy organic foods. That's my choice, and I have the option to do that. I don't have to go to some big corporation just because it's convenient or because it's cheaper.
We don't seem to understand that our actions in this part of the world affect people and cultures of other parts of the world. We don't see really the globe as being global. We don't see ourselves as playing a part in a global culture. So we are using up resources at an incredible pace here, whilst other people are suffering from having very little.
I have a direct effect on the environment, and everyone around me does. So I can do things to either destroy it or embrace it.
And the truck comes by on Friday and carts it all away. 1,000 trucks just like it are converging on the bay. Oh, garbage, garbage, garbage. We're filling up the seas with garbage. What will we do when there's no place left to put all the garbage? Mr. Thompson starts his Cadillac, winds it down the